The girl peeks through the door crack at her brother's shower. His ripped body and bulging muscles are all hot and bothered. Rebecca's got good taste. Jose had a huge equipment since he was a kid, even freaking out his mom. After knocking up Pilar, Jose got scared and ran off, joining a bunch of sailors without a country. They sailed around the world 65 times before a shipwreck left Jose the lone survivor. Now he's grown mature and macho, downing 20 raw eggs for breakfast and oozing confidence. Jose's impressive physique soon causes a stir at the nightclubs. Girls throw money at him for a night of fun, and he's raking in more cash than the top prostitute. Rebecca's head over heels for him. In comparison, her fiancé Pietro looks like a sugary dandy. Just a glance at Jose gets Rebecca all worked up, even driving her back to her old dirt-eating habit to cope. She walks into Jose's room as if possessed, and they go at it like rabbits all night long. For the first time, Rebecca manages to thank God for having been born. The next morning, they're making googly eyes at each other without a care, and Jose drops a bombshell announcement.
Me caso con Rebeca.
No digas pendeja.
No estamos pidiendo permiso.
Ursula's shocked and pissed, threatening to kick them out if they get hitched.
Perfecto. El que quiera venir está invitado.
Before leaving, they throw some shade at the stunned family. Amaranta's the most ticked off. Rebecca always gets the guy she wants, and it's driving Amaranta crazy with jealousy. She tears up and burns all of Rebecca's clothes, her anger burning hotter than the flames. Meanwhile, Jose struts into Pietro's music class to tell him he's not Rebecca's fiancé anymore.
Sí, po. Es contra natura.
Me cago dos veces en natura.
Pietro's heartbroken, but can't do anything about it. 3 days later, Jose and Rebecca tie the knot in church with the priest's blessing. After all, they're not blood relatives. Only Aureliano from the Buendia family shows up to celebrate. Arcadio stands there, grinning like an idiot, still clueless that Jose's his dad. Pilar watches from afar, maybe reminiscing about her steamy nights with Jose years ago. The newlyweds rent a place near the cemetery, with nothing but a hammock to their name. The townsfolk can only pray their earth-shaking lovemaking doesn't disturb the dead. Ursula feels bad for Pietro getting dumped, so she invites him for lunch every Tuesday. With Amaranta's tender loving care, he soon gets over his heartbreak. Pietro feels he's found true love. He works up the courage to confess his feelings, and Amaranta's eyes are full of hope. But when Pietro pops the question with a diamond ring, she turns him down.
Y si de verdad me quieres, Pietro, no vuelvas a pisar esta casa.
Pietro is totally confused, thinking he wasn't sincere enough, so he grabs his harp and stands outside the Buendia house, pouring his heart out in song. His angelic voice moves young girls and lovey-dovey couples. But it can't soften Amaranta's stubbornness. Ursula opens the door, but can only shake her head at Pietro's all-night vigil. Pietro's face turns ashen. He spills his blood on the black and white keys he's loved all his life, dying in despair and loneliness. Instead of a wedding blessing from the priest, he gets last rites. Amaranta's heart is once again filled with guilt. She presses her right hand on a hot stove to atone, proving she's not heartless. Amaranta rejected Pietro not to get back at him, but because of Remedio's death. Accepting Pietro would mean her happiness came from an innocent person's death. That would haunt her forever. But Ursula doesn't know this and is completely disappointed in her daughter. From then on, Amaranta pours all her energy into her brother's love child. But their close relationship leads the little nephew to develop different feelings for her.
¿Puedo quedar esta noche contigo?
Tienes que acostumbrarte a dormir solo.
Es la última vez, te lo prometo.
Está bien.
While the Buendia family's going through all this drama, Macondo's fate is about to change. The magistrate barges into the bar with his guards, announcing Macondo's first election. There's a curfew starting every night until then. They go door to door, confiscating weapons, even taking kitchen knives. Macondo's people are freaking out, and everyone's pissed. Turns out the ruling Conservative Party and the Liberal Party are at each other's throats. And word is the Liberals are planning a revolution during the election. The magistrate tries to get his son-in-law Aureliano to join the Conservatives, but Aureliano couldn't care less about politics. His nephew Arcadio, though, is already caught up in this mess, joining the underground liberal organization in Macondo.
Bienvenido a la revolución.
To drum up votes, they sneak in a printing press and start handing out flyers to Macondo's residents. Almost all the descendants of Macondo's founders support or join them. Fed up with the Conservatives' harsh policies, Arcadio's school becomes a secret meeting spot for the liberals. His humble beginnings and feeling left out have made him unhappy with the status quo, and the leader's fiery speeches really stir up his rebellious side.
¡Vamos a votar con dignidad y valentía!
The next day, the election kicks off, everyone voting Liberal downs a bottle of medicine as a secret signal. This way, the Liberals can count their votes early. No surprise, the Liberal votes are way ahead, but the magistrate orders the results flipped. This blatant cheating leaves Aureliano stunned.
Si yo fuera liberal, eso sería una razón para ir a la guerra.
Hombre, Aurelito, si tú fueras liberal, aunque fuera mi yerno.
The Liberals soon find out about the vote tampering, and it's not just in Macondo, it's happening all over the country. They're furious and ready to fight back with violence. Aureliano's disgusted by the Conservatives' dirty tricks too, and his friends convince him to think about joining the Liberals. But the Liberals aren't as righteous and civilized as they seem. They're planning a massacre of Conservative officials and their families. They even want Aureliano to kill his father-in-law, the magistrate, and his 6 daughters.
Usted no es ni revolucionario. Usted lo que es un matarife. Eso es lo que es usted.
Aureliano doesn't want to team up with these terrorists masquerading as a political party, so he leaves disappointed. Before the Liberals can start their revolt, the Conservative National Army sneaks into Macondo. They kick out the sleeping Arcadio and his wife, taking over the school as their barracks. The next day, they arrest the Liberal leaders without explanation. When the priest tries to intervene, they beat him up. Aureliano can't stand this brutality and goes to ask his father-in-law to stop the executions, but the magistrates lost his power once the government declares a state of emergency. The army takes control of all towns, so the army publicly executes the Liberal leaders to scare Macondo's residents.
¡Viva la revolución!
Then they go on a witch hunt for Liberal members, preferring to kill innocents rather than let anyone escape. After seeing an innocent woman beaten to death in the street by soldiers, Aureliano's burning with rage. He doesn't want to get involved in politics, but he can't sit by and watch the Conservatives brutalize Macondo's people. Packing up his gear and weapons, Aureliano quietly says goodbye to his father. Ignoring his mother's pleas, he sets off on the path of revolution. First, he tells his friends to gather people ready to take on the National Army.
Prepárenlo, muchachos.
¿Qué arma?
Con la de ellos.
Then, he goes to the cemetery to invite Jose to join. But Jose's seen the cruelty of the outside world and just wants a quiet life with Rebecca. He tells his brother to make sure he comes back alive. At midnight, Aureliano and his crew quietly take out the soldiers guarding the school. He leads the charge into the school with the first gun they grabbed. The sleeping soldiers are caught off guard, totally defenseless against the armed rebels. Aureliano orders the execution of the officers and soldiers who've committed atrocities.
¡Honor y patria! ¡Mátenlo!
He's finally shed his indecisiveness, taking his first real step into the revolution. Arcadio wants to follow Aureliano, but Aureliano tells him to stay and be the civil and military commander. Macondo's without leadership now. Then he finds the magistrate hiding and shaking in a closet, telling him Macondo's been liberated.
Y usted a mí no me vuelve a llamar Aurelito. A partir de este momento, soy el coronel Aureliano Buendía.
The silversmith Aureliano has officially become Colonel Aureliano, ready to lead his comrades to join the Liberal Army. From this moment on, he embarks on his revolutionary journey, beginning his grand and glorious life.